Nation's capital here. I'm right up on it. Not too far away. This is about the distance I am from it. Beautiful building, man. Oh my God. And we'll get a little bit closer. This is Joe Lewis coming to you from Justice Now. I'm at the state capitol at the Family Preservation Rally held on July 19th. And I'm here with one of the participants of that rally. And your name is, sir?
John DiBiase. I'm with the Divorced Men's Association of Connecticut. So we came all the way down here from Connecticut, drove down here, 2 vehicles. And our vehicles have identifications from different websites and stuff all over our vehicles. We're getting the word out.
Okay, and how long have you been here for this rally?
Since yesterday. We came yesterday morning.
Okay. And you have a website, you said?
Yeah, I have a number of websites. I have a number of blogs and a website, www.connecticutdivorcedmen.com.
And what type of information could a man find on that website if he was to go there, or a father?
The blogs, well, anything, you know, false accusations, restraining orders, you know, rights of not considerable parents, suicide, you name it, anything that's pertaining to what's involved with this corrupt child custody, child support system.
Right.
Child custody, incarceration.
Okay, and how long have you been involved?
About the last 11 years, but it actually goes farther back than that. I first got involved with the Divorced Men's Association around 1968 for my first divorce.
Okay. All right. And
since then, there's 2, or they're on their 3rd president now. So the first 2 passed away. Bob Adams, who I knew personally, was very effective in our legislature in getting bills introduced, and some progress was made during his reign.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like taking up where he left off.
Okay.
I answer the hotline for the organization to a local 211 info line.
And what's that hotline number? Is it open to the public?
211. You have to go. Right, it's open to the public.
Okay, and what will be that number?
Well, it's 211 locally. But
okay.
There is no.
Okay, all right. Now you're holding up a sign. I want to get a picture of the sign that you're holding up. Okay. All right, and this is a sign. Is this like a sign on your website? Or this is a sign that basically your organization has put together?
I use this for informational displays, and sometimes I have them at our state capitol in Hartford, Connecticut. And this is one of the signs that's been there.
Okay, all right.
This sign has been all over the United States, or all over the East Coast anyways.
Now, how long is this rally going to be going on here? Is it going to be
until dark?
Until dark?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any more presentations taking place here at the Capitol? Will it be continuing on for several more days, or is this the last day?
No, there's several more days. But
okay.
I'm just been able to come for 2 days.
So it'll be several more days this will be going on. Okay. Now, if a father wanted to come down
and
and
about that. So.
Okay. All right. And TK is the individual that I talked to about.
Right. He's the one who organized this event. So.
Okay, beautiful. All right, thank you very much.
There's Mark Young. Mark, I want you on an interview. What? Can you talk? This guy's from New York doing an interview. All right. Well, maybe he'll come back.
Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, John. Thanks for giving us an interview.
You're welcome.
All right.
I gotta bring my car.
Okay, here we have a Jeep for one of the organizations that are here. Very decked out with websites, slogans.
That's the PAAO this year.
Right.
That's this year.
Okay, that's the same thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Same thing.
Wow. Okay, wow, this is beautiful. Very greatly decked out here. This is by one of the fathers. Okay, here's one of the fathers here. You can hear them speaking in the background of this rally here at the Capitol building. Okay. Wow. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh. Wow. Oh. Beautiful. Oh. Very. Oh. Decked. Oh. This is by fathers. Oh. Oh. And T. Oh. And T. One of the individual in tier. Individual in T. Individual in T. Here. The individual in T. King in the individual in T. Now. Individual in T. Individual in T. Here. Individual in T. Capitol building. Individual in T. Individual. Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. Beautiful. Very decked out. This is my fathers. This is this gentleman's Jeep right here. How you doing, sir?
Good, and you?
I'm doing okay. Let me get over here where I can get some light on you. Your name is, sir?
Ken Krajewski.
Okay, and you're a participant in this rally as well?
Yes.
What organization do you run?
Save Our Kids, Parental Alienation Foundation,
Okay.
Fathers for Good, Knights of Columbus, and United Civil Rights Council.
Beautiful, beautiful. How long have you been involved in the struggle, Ken?
About 3 years, ever
Okay.
since I was put into court on a false restraining order.
Okay, all right. And how long have you been at this rally?
I've been here probably a day and a half to this one.
Okay. Now the website that you just gave me, fathers can go on that website. What type of information would they find?
Well,
if
it's
they would?
actually, I'm working with, as you see on the Jeep, 30 organizations that are not only fathers, they're mothers,
Beautiful.
they're doctors, they're all types of family members and all types of ethnicities.
Right, right. Beautiful, beautiful. And you've been doing this for 3 years, huh?
3 years now, yes.
Okay. And how long will you be at this rally? I understand this rally is supposed to will be going on for a couple of days.
Yeah, I'll be going on until next week. I'll be coming back next week for the Justice March to the White House.
And what date will the Justice March be taking place?
That is next Sunday. I don't know the exact date.
Okay, all right. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much for your time, Ken. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
You too.
Here's another.
Ken's website. And
Here's another one of the vehicles here at the rally. As you can see, decked out with the various information, parent alienation and is child abuse. Have a website here, looks like parental-alienation-awareness.com
Yes.
and looks like
Father Without Christmas.
fatherwithoutchristmas.com.
You check out the back.
Okay, you got numbers here if you want to call and
Right.
speak to these individuals. Let's go to the back.
Divorce law reform. We go right to the fathers.
Divorce law reform.
This is my website, ConnecticutDivorceMen.com.
Okay,
And
here's
kids
a
need both, need fathers, not visitors. That's the HCFC quote.
right.
And this is my quote: "Second families matter." We need to include all the incomes on both sides of the
That's right.
families here, just like they do it when you're getting federal monies for Section 8 or whatever.
That's right.
They include all the adult income.
Yeah, they need
The
to.
same in family court.
Yeah, they need to obey the law
Right.
because the laws are there and they protect both people. And it's the prejudice and bias atmosphere that makes them do what they do. It's not no law supporting them.
And there's the HCFC, kids need fathers, not visitors. And,
Okay, right.
And this is the Exiled Fathers from Mark Young. That's
Right.
the one that got you.
ExiledFathers.org. There's another website.
Yeah.
I hope your viewing audience is writing all this down.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Here's another one here.
And that's the bottom line. Kids
Right.
need both parents.
They need them both. Definitely. Both.
If they're fit,
Beautiful.
providing they're fit.
Three fathers, three of the organizational leaders here who put this rally together. A beautiful picture of the Capitol in the background. Three hard-working, diligent individuals who are all about seeing liberty and justice restored into our courts. This is Joe Lewis from Justice Now. I'm here with Mark Young, one of the organizational leaders here at this rally.
Really, I'm just a cameraman.
Okay, all right, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay, and Mark, how long have you been involved with the fathers' rights and justice for our court system?
My case started in 1989, Newport News, Virginia, and I would give everything I own to have the tape recording, either audio or video, of that hearing where they stole my kids. The most important thing to me, anybody who watches this, if you're going through this situation, I don't know what they do in New York or wherever you're from, but all across the country they've got different procedures about recording in courts. You've got to file a written motion. This is in Virginia I'm talking about, but I think it applies to many states. A written motion to record your hearing. The courts like to avoid the appearance of unfairness, so unless you have it in the record, they're going to ignore your request. If you go into court and say, hey, can I use my voice recorder, they're going to laugh at you and say no. You've got to get it in record, on the record, in writing, file a written motion well before your hearing date. Now, if they deny that motion, you get that in writing, and then you publicize that. This man, Joe Lewis, has got the right idea. This is what the First Amendment is all about.
Exactly.
Exposing corruption. Until we do that en masse, we need thousands of people across the country to do what me and Joe are doing.
Right.
Get people who've been screwed by our court system,
Right.
And it's under siege all across this country.
Right. Right.
We've been invaded by domestic enemies.
Right.
And until we take command of our situations, we're going to keep getting screwed.
Right.
People.
Exactly.
The First Amendment is our First Amendment. The courts don't belong to judges, they don't belong to attorneys. You've got to realize that before you ever go into a courtroom. Go to, I don't want to advertise for anybody, but what's the name of the guy who does, he sells it'll come to me in a minute. It's an online course you can get for learning the law. Go pro se, fire your attorney. That's like pouring gasoline on the fire when you use an attorney.
That's right. That's right.
You know, if you pay an attorney, you're supporting the enemy.
That's right.
You're supplying the enemy with money, and that's, you know, lawyers have no interest. I won't say all, but
right, because there are some that is
90%. They have no interest in solving your case, even if they think they do. You know, financially they don't. It's in their interest financially to let the litigation go on and on and on.
Right, exactly.
So we've got that, and we've got that Congress up there with laws like VAWA, Violence Against Women Act.
Right.
Which is on its face unconstitutional. We're not supposed to have gender-based laws. We've got Title 4D of the Social Security Act. All these monies are funding the states they're creating and perpetuating litigation. So you've got the feds and you've got the attorneys taking our family funds, destroying our families.
Right.
And the First Amendment, that's what the camera is for. You know, if we had these in all courtrooms, this wouldn't happen. You turn on the lights, the roaches scatter.
That's right. That's right.
You got to have at least audio recording in these courts, people. Until we do that, you know, I'm never going into a courtroom again without either video or at least audio recording.
That's right.
I will not proceed if they deny you the right to use audio. You know, go to jail, let them put you in, lock you up.
Right.
Until you get it in the 21st century technology. Why can't we have it in all courts already? The fact that we don't, that's blatant evidence of fascism.
Right.
Okay? They don't want an accurate record. They don't want to be held accountable if they screw you. They know that get rid of these, and that's a dark courtroom. They can do whatever they want. There's no record of it.
That's right.
Why do we have courts not of record? Why would you have a court not of record? Now that has to do with what cases are reported in the law books and whatnot. But the name, that's antithetical to the idea of openness and public hearings. Court's not of record? Give me a break.
Right.
Every court needs to be a court of record. You should be able to certify the record of your hearing by going into the courtroom with a laptop, and you use your audio recorder, and once the hearing is over, you burn 2 CDs or 3. One for the court, one for the opposing party. There can be no question about tampering with the record because everybody got the original recording.
Right, right.
That means you can do your own transcript with voice-to-text software. Sorry, court reporters, but you need to be obsolete. You know, we spent hundreds and thousands of dollars transcripts.
Right.
You know, that's part of the divorce industry and other industries too in the court. Another problem I have is with the psychological evaluations. They should no more order you into a psych eval than they should order you to attend a particular church, or to see an astrologer or a palm reader. You know, that's basically what psychologists are. It's not a science. I started out in college as a psych major. I know what psychology is about.
Right.
All this does is it continues the cases so that the lawyers get to come back to court after they've done the psych eval.
Right.
So these psychologists are getting their money, and then you're coming back into court, back and forth, like a ping pong ball.
Right.
It bounced around because the judge didn't do his job upholding your constitutional right to be a parent in the first place.
Right.
He doesn't know how to do his job.
Well, he knows how to do his job,
they
and
know
he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the whole thing about
And
it.
if he doesn't, he needs to be kicked out.
I mean, he knows.
He doesn't deserve to be on the
He
bench.
knows that he is part of a system that is built on prejudice and bias against you, and to administer that prejudice and bias at all costs. He knows that. And he knows to do that, he has to break the law. And that's why he needs everybody in cahoots when he does it. He needs the attorney in cahoots. He needs the court stenographer in cahoots. He needs the opposing party in cahoots. He needs everybody in cahoots because he knows what he's about to do is illegal. He is going to violate your rights. It is impossible for what they are doing to happen without violating some constitutional right, federal statute, or state statute that protects you. They're breaking the law.
And another thing I want to add on there, as far as recording your own hearing, Sony puts out a, I can't think of the model right now, but if you go on their Sony.com, I don't work for Sony or anything, I'm just telling you, there's a good deal.
Right.
They sell the one that sells for about $150, but for $200 it comes with voice-to-text recognition software. That's Dragon Naturally Speaking software. So if you have an audio recording of your hearing, you can listen to that recording and dictate into your new recording, or dictate right into your computer that'll translate your voice into text. In other words, you can create your own transcript.
Right.
Now, the courts are going to object to all I'm saying now, but we need to push for it from the bottom up for this 21st century technology. We got to, there are courts, we got to take them back, and we've got to use 21st century technology to do it. We've got to get our hearings on record electronically.
Right. Well, I'm all for
Not
that.
that expensive. You figure $200 for a voice recorder, a quality voice recorder, the Sony, and the voice-to-text software. How much do you spend just to get a court reporter to come to court?
Right.
You know, it's crazy. And then you're going to spend another few hundred or $1,000 for the transcript.
Right.
You can do your own transcript.
Right.
You bring your laptop into court. Once the hearing is done, you burn a couple CDs, you give one to the court if they're not recording it. You give one to the opposing party who can object.
Right.
Just in Alexandria a couple weeks ago, I was acting as a court reporter in a case. I brought in my camcorder because it has superb audio, and I wanted to point it at the wall. They don't allow video? Fine. Well, I'll use the audio part of it. I can extract the audio from the video. If you have a camcorder already, you should try to do that in your courts. This judge wouldn't allow it, and they kicked me out. They treated me like I was some kind in cahoots to create a falsified transcript. But that's absurd. I mean, it's an electronic recording. I can't alter that. If they're concerned about it, let me burn a copy right there. I'll give it to you.
Right. Right.
So become a court reporter. Don't do it for your friends.
Right.
But that and jury trials. That to me, I've been in this for 20 years, looking at the situation about family courts. Jury trials and electronic recording. That will solve the problem.
Yeah. In a lot of the cases, some of them, they will not let you have jury trials.
Oh, they'll fight that tooth and nail.
Yeah, they'll be, you know why? Because it takes the power out of their hands
That's
to
right.
commit the prejudice and bias which the court atmosphere is set for them to do. It is not the law. The law show me one law where it says that a mother is a better parent than a father, and because of that the mother should get the children. There is no laws that support that. What that is their attitude and their belief of saying Dad, you get out the house. Mom, you keep the kids. Dad, you pay child support. Dad, you get visitation.
It's divide and conquer.
Exactly.
It's divide and conquer, and that's how they keep the funds rolling into the law firm.
Exactly.
First they separate, usually the father. Mothers get screwed too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
It's all wrong.
Because I do stories on mothers who have gotten their raw share of the deal too.
Sure. Yeah,
and it's terrible.
And I put videos on YouTube, Mark Young 12, YouTube. Mark
I've seen you're Mark Young, 12. I've seen your videos.
Hey, my website is Exile.
I've seen them. I got a bunch of them. in my
military ones are excellent. The ones with the soldiers.
Mark Young 12. Okay, it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Mark.
The website is exilefathers.org. So I've got that's got the text documents, and it'll tell you all about. It'll help you educate yourself before you go to court.
Right.
That's about it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark.
Got a whistleblower here.
We've got a beautiful lady over here holding a banner.
I want to interview Deborah.
Yes.
Deborah here.
Yes, I'm going to interview Deborra.
Interrupt her while we.
Hello, Deborah.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. What brings you to this rally here?
Well, I'm a whistleblower in the state of Connecticut. I'm a registered nurse. I work for the state of Connecticut.
Okay.
One of their provider agencies, and I blew the whistle on abuse and neglect, and even sentinel events all the way up to death of wards of the state. These are children and these are adults. I also reported fraud, waste of taxpayer dollars.
Wow.
And all the waste of government funding that just could have been corrected with simple little implementations of corrective actions.
Right.
They found it easier to retaliate against me, as they do all whistleblowers, instead of making the changes.
Right.
I contacted the federal government. They did come in and do an investigation back in 2004. The whole government was revamped. Governor John Rowland was put in jail.
Wow.
And a couple of other high-profile cronies of his. But that was it. They went in and they did some changes with administrative heads, moved them around to different jobs.
Right.
And we whistleblowers ended up being retaliated against ever since.
How did they retaliate against you?
Well, they do things like blacklist you from employment.
Wow.
Healthcare profession is a very tight-knit profession.
Right.
I can't get employment in my profession. They do things like false arrest. DCF comes in knocking on your door, takes our children away falsely, there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of financial stressors involved.
Right.
I've had a 35-year marriage that failed under the stress.
Under the pressure of this.
Ended up in family court.
Wow.
My son, almost 18 years old, was put under guardianship. And the guardian took his rights away.
Wow.
He wasn't allowed to come into court to fight for his college fund, and his property was taken from him.
Wow.
Going to college this fall, has no college fund.
Right.
We 2 years in divorce court and family court, never got any temporary alimony, never got any temporary child support, lived off of credit cards for 2 years. I was awarded $75,000 in credit card debt.
Wow.
My ex was given over $800,000 in assets and equity. He makes 6 figures.
Right.
Our rental property, almost $7,500 a month, would have sent our child to college. All taken away.
Right.
And I'm losing my marital home. I never even got exclusive possession of my marital home.
Right.
I'm a whistleblower, and I'm supposed to be protected by the Attorney General's office. Whistleblower unit is in his office. Never got any protections. Never got any assistance.
Wow.
Flat nothing.
Wow.
But there, I filed a federal lawsuit they're right there defending the state using fabricated evidence as their defense against me.
Right, right.
So this is what we face in Connecticut as whistleblowers.
Okay.
I joined an organization called NASGA.
Okay.
It's the National Association to Stop Guardianship Abuse.
They have website?
Yes, we have a website.
What's the website for the viewers?
NASGA e-blog. You can find Google NASGA.
Okay.
National Organization to Stop Guardianship Abuse.
Okay, beautiful.
And we are trying to reform the courts because our legislators have changed the law to make it easier for people to be put under guardianship.
Right.
Like my son, like people who are advocates, whistleblowers. That's the next step.
Right.
All these things that they retaliated against whistleblowers and people who are advocates, now they're allowed to put us under guardianship, like my friend here.
All right.
So you can't speak. All your rights are taken away. You have no right to speak in court. You have no right to your health care.
Right.
Your finances.
Right.
All taken over by the guardianship. So this is the first time I'm speaking out.
I'm glad. Beautiful.
And this is my friend here. She's under guardianship.
Cheryl.
How you doing, Cheryl?
That's what I'm trying. I'm hoping I don't get under guardianship. And I'm hoping that.
Explain to them how you get people like draw you in to be having a guardian ad litem. Explain that to them.
Yeah, how does that happen? How do they draw you
Well,
into?
guardian ad litem is the guardianship for children.
Okay.
Okay, it happens.
Or
It happened by false complaint, or a
Okay.
parent could complain about the school administration. Maybe there's something academically they want to complain about. Since the public schools are government,
Right.
and the courts are as corrupt as they are, the probate court and the juvenile court are secret courts.
Right.
They're not open to the public.
Right.
So they'll knock on your door, put your child under guardianship. You're in probate court, juvenile court. You have no say.
Wow.
You have no rights. Your due process is denied, and the state comes in through this court process,
why?
takes your child.
Because they do things in the best. They're saying that they're doing things in the best
Well,
interest of the
that's
child.
what guardianship means.
Guardian ad litem means they're speaking
But
on
see
behalf
how
of.
broad that is. In the best interest of the child. Says who?
And then
Says who?
it's I
What's the
think what I find interesting is that you always put it in the best interest of the individual that you do not allow to speak.
Exactly.
You always put it in the interest of the individual who you do not allow to say anything.
And that guardian doesn't even know your
Right.
child.
Right.
Know the elder.
Right.
But see, that's how these are the citizens that are being put under guardianship at incredible rates across the country.
Right.
And there's a lot of profiteering by agents of the court.
Right.
And they're court-appointed professionals. So they're actually, when we've done our investigation, these are independent contractors
Right.
who put their reports in biased to what the court says in exchange for the constant steady flow
Right.
of clients that are knocking on their door.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a really intricate network for profit.
Right. It is.
And that's what we're here for. We're here to ask our U.S. senators, our U.S. Representatives, and our president to reform these courts, to protect families, to keep families together,
Right.
and to look at these state governments and investigate what's going on in our secret courts, in our family courts today.
Right.
So we're asking them, and we're also looking into the International Criminal Court if we can't get our federal agencies and our government to look at this very growing and very disturbing problem.
Extremely
for families.
disturbing.
Yes.
It's extremely disturbing.
So my name's Deborah Barclay, and I'm a registered nurse looking for work.
That's all right,
Looking for
Deborah.
work to support my child.
That's all right, Deborah. You're courageous.
We've been denied any kind of income.
Right.
So.
You're courageous.
Thank
and I'd
you.
like to thank you for your interview.
Thank you.
From Justice Now. And who am I speaking with here?
You're speaking to Francesca Moore, the daughter of Tiffany.
Okay. And what brings you to this rally, Francesca?
Pardon me?
What brings you to this rally?
My daughter was illegally kidnapped by Department of Children and Families in Florida.
Wow.
And she had a medical problem, failure to thrive. And she right now, the guardian item took a genuine concern in her to take her away, which is the foster parents' sister is adopting my daughter, who is head director of Department of Children and Families, and that's where Al Zimmerman is the one who did pornography with our children and made porno films, and he was arrested a while back.
Wow. So how long ago did this happen to you?
This happened about, well, she's 5, she's almost 12 now.
Right.
So you're talking about back in 2003.
Right,
Yes.
right. Wow.
But they did target her from the beginning of the birth.
Wow, what do you mean targeted her? How did they target her?
They wanted her everywhere, like from the hospital and on. They worked as nurses and their friends, and they target her with the doctors lying and saying malicious lies and false accusations and misrepresentations, and target her from birth.
Wow, and they winded up taking her from you.
The head of Department of Children and Families is the head director, which is the foster parent's sister.
Okay, so now how long have you been fighting this to?
I have been fighting since 1999.
Okay, and what type of opposition, which I know was plenty, what type of opposition did you encounter in trying to right what you felt was an injustice?
Well, like I said, if you read my transcripts, they should have recused my attorney because he's an adopted parent of his own. He has adopted parents.
Right.
And he has adopted children. So they should have recused him already. They didn't want to give me my transcripts. I had to go through ins and outs to get that.
Right.
They didn't want to listen to my witnesses. The judge did not make the decision. It was the state attorney and Department of Children and Families, along with the guardian item, that made the decision instead of the judge, when they should make it where if the judge cannot do that, they need a jury trial to make the decision.
Right.
Or the parents themselves.
Right. Wow. Wow, that's a tragic story. I mean, I've heard this on so many different occasions happening to so many parents. And I just, like I said, I do a TV show in Rochester, New York called Justice Now. And I just did a story on a mother who went through the same thing as you, and I mean the viewing audience was outraged when they heard it. And they're going to be just as outraged when they hear your story.
Well, I have had 12 births. She's my live birth.
Right.
I had her 1 pound, 8 ounces at 5 months, but the baby doesn't survive usually at that time of birth.
Right.
So she was like my 12th birth that lived.
Okay.
And she's my entire life.
Wow.
And I just want her home.
Right.
I cry. I mean, I don't sleep. I'm always worrying if she's in danger.
Right.
They don't let me talk to her. I mean, she's already been adopted. It's very conspired. They conspired and schemed against me by saying things. They even put criminal records that should have never been in because I didn't have anything really criminal in there. But they used I was living with a police officer, a sergeant in Kansas City in Florida. And they still use other people's records inside mine. So they actually put things in that didn't even belong into my transcripts or my trials.
Right. Wow. Well, I mean, it takes a lot to go through what you're going through. And like I said, not only am I an individual who does his own TV show, but I do court advocacy too, so I hear these stories all the time. It's a tragedy what our own domestic judicial systems is putting us through as American citizens. I think it is sickening. And I think you're brave and courageous for hanging in there and standing up against such an entity because, I mean, we're talking about our own government.
Well, like I said, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what they should do is they should have the judges take responsibility
Right.
for the social worker, the guardian ad litem, the state attorney, or anyone that is expert of the state.
Okay.
Because if they didn't let the judge make the decision, it would be impossible for the judge to make a decision. If he can't do it, he needs to, drop down and let somebody else do it.
Right.
Because
right
right now I'm doing a federal lawsuit on everyone.
Right, right. Well, the standard guidelines of Child Protective Services anyway is to come into a home if there's problems, and if there is problems, give the individuals, one parent or both parents, services, fix that home, and put the child back into the home. This is the standard guidelines, federal procedures of Child Protective Services, not to take a child from a parent and auction that child off for adoption.
Well, absolutely, they never gave me a fair trial.
Right.
Okay? They never gave me any kind of opportunities.
Right.
To take a medical child, it's $30,000 per child.
Right.
$25,000 for a normal child.
Right.
The statistics are just over millions and billions of dollars. The
Yes.
sheriff's departments are in on it. They need to have legal proper ID going and take a child with a court order paper saying to take the child.
Right.
They should just not go in there. They're going in as detectives in the middle of the night, taking military, movie stars, even judges and other big higher rank.
Right, right.
Because they think because they got money and power that they're going to take a better care of our children.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Well, first of all, you have no real intention to take care of the child if you are falsely taking the child. You are already under false prevarications from the beginning, because you have no business falsely taking somebody's kid. So if you falsely take my child, the last thing I'm going to think is that you're going to take care of my child.
Well, I've met all my child's needs. All my child's needs
Right.
from birth.
Right.
And my daughter had failure to thrive, which is a feeding disorder. And they have that as a premature babies. And it takes time for them to actually gain weight. But apparently what they were doing is they were filling her diaper so she would gain more weight.
Right.
But she never gained weight even to this day.
Right. Wow.
And it's not only that, it's hurting the children. Serious physical, mental, emotional
Yes,
damage.
yes,
And
without a doubt.
something needs to be done.
Well,
And
something's going to be done.
I pray.
Something's going to
I
be
pray
done.
because I love my baby so much.
Because I'm one that's not going to take this anymore. I'm here like you are because I'm tired. I'm tired of this bull crap, and something needs to be done about it. And bottom line is, we're going to make sure that happens, okay? Okay, thank you very much. And you stay strong, you understand? Joe Lewis.
Joe Lewis, thank
Yes.
you, Joe Lewis.
Yes.
For
Yes.
telling us that something is going to happen.
Oh no, something is going to happen. But
I'm from Westbrook, Connecticut, and I'm here today to talk about judicial abuse. Abuse by what the government's letting happen in our courts. And I started my mission because of my child getting illegally kidnapped and held for ransom as a hostage by the Department of Children and Families, who was not allowed to visit with my mom while she was critically in the hospital last year. And I'm giving out this public notice. And my public notice states, to parents, children, and families, if you or a loved one has been falsely accused or wronged by the DCF/CPS, we all know Child Protection Service,
right.
court system, please contact us for information, guidance, and notices to discussions and meetings about DCF and CPS and the court system. They do make a case based upon false testimonies and made-up reports to illegally kidnap and hold children for ransom, whether it be for the money or services to providers, so that they can funnel money in any way they can do it with government Title IV funds. They do unlawful practices to families that are dragged into the system. To give you information and guidance and notices, discussions, and meetings concerning the issues with these agencies, that is why we started the group U.S. Concerned Parents About DCF, CPS, Family, Probate, and Support Court Systems, and the corruptness that goes on in the courts. If you United we stand by the grace of God. In Jesus' name we pray for our children. Amen. Peace be with you. We need to hear about your situation so we can stop the travesty of injustice. I need your input to help me stop the injustices of the juvenile and family courts. Justice is being falsely represented or distorted. Be a part of, listen, or just give information about the issues we are investigating for U.S. concerned parents about DCF and CPS in the courts. My email is ctparent, that's ctparent@gmail.com. And my website is usconcernedparents.web.com. And I I don't give advice, I give information and knowledge for parents that even get any kind of complaint about their children or their families to go to the Parents Guide to the System. This is to help parents protect their children and their family. It's www.geocities.family_rights_WV/CPS-watch parents_guide.html. And I profess that I'm with love, a mom on a mission, Cheryl Martone. And this is about DCF, and it's not justice until justice is served on DCF. They have to abide by their policy, and they have to live by the rules and amendments of the Constitution of the United States. We all know that they do not. What about my child that he has the right to speak for himself and be with his family? His mother raised him well, nurtured him well. He deserves a better environment than he is in now because they have and are holding him hostage. The DCF. First, the awful resident home, then the awful unlawful foster house that he got put in. Life was very good 3.5 years ago when we moved into Chapman Beach in Westbrook, Connecticut. My son called it the mini mansion, and I had a very good job until DCF and CPS came into our life because of a false report from Westbrook Middle School principal. You know who you are.
Wow.
This is a powerful message for parents to protect their children. If they want to teen screen your child at school, if they want to do any kind of psychologically testing, they have to ask you first, the parent. If they want to give you a test in the hospital with this new Mothers Act that's going on, if you're any kind of like let down, depressed a little bit because you just had your child, they have this, Congress passed this Mothers Act that gives the right to medical people to test you for postpartum depression.
Right.
And then if you don't allow them to, or if you take this test and have postpartum depression, they come in and take the babies away right out of the hospital. They snatch the babies right out of the hospital.
Wow.
And this is a powerful message to parents. Protect your children. Advise them. Talk to them about stranger danger.
Right.
People trying to talk to them about you, the parents.
Right.
You have to help your children to help you protect them.
Right.
There is stranger danger. And I profess that my mom was, I feel this psychiatry and industry of death, that's on www.cchr.com, and that will teach you about the psychotropic drugging of elders in the hospital.
Right.
Now they're attacking elders, and they want to attack children with psychotropic drugs, and it really behooves me. I have a niece who's a biochemist, and I know firsthand that children under 18, 16 years old should not be on any poisonous, I call, psychotropic drugging. It hurts their cognitive development. It keeps them from thinking properly, and it gets them, like, this is like powerful drugs that they get addicted to. And
right.
They shouldn't, they need not to be doing this to our, this is our flesh and blood.
Right.
And it hurts the whole family. When they start tearing families apart, when DCF starts tearing families apart, it's just like, that's what's breaking down our economy.
Right.
This is what America was built on.
Right.
Family.
Right.
God.
Right.
And the Bible. Our first laws, if you read, go back in the books, when our laws were first amended and things were first done, it was all from a conservative way of people that were religious and Christian-like. And I think that this big building back here has gotten away from these values that our forefathers brought this country into power on.
Right.
And I feel that we, the people, like We the People Fest,
Right.
should be looking into, there's a whole group of parents that are down here from Connecticut, like myself, and that's what I profess that we should get in touch with my website so that we can come together and unite. Even if you're in an organization, I want to be linked onto your organization so that we can come together and unite in one bond to protect our families and our most valuable, our most vulnerable citizens, our parents who are elderly and our children who are loved. And
Right.
It's all about love. And I say this is in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Here's another one of the colorful banisters here that they're holding up at the...
Martone.
Yes, Cheryl Martone here.
From the Constitution State.
That's right. Very artistic, very strong message on there.
Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love it, love it.
All right, let me show you my other one now.
Yeah, let me get the other one on here.
Yep, here it is. You're gonna like this, Joe. Wait, you see that one? Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Alrighty, okay, look at this here. Corruption. I love it.
Code should be tri-eruption.
Yeah.
Multi-eruption.
Yeah.
Corrupt.
God bless America.
If everybody would, who has a picture of a child, please come up on the stage with me, and I need if you would, please come up. We're not allowed to burn candles on the Capitol, so we're going to name the names and hold the faces out. Could you please come hold a face for me? I'm so honored and privileged to carry the roar on for children who will no longer have a voice to speak. I took this mission on last year at Senate Park. I came to tell my story, and I decided theirs was much more important than my story, because that's what God wanted me to do. Each face that you will see standing up here tonight being shown has been a victim of death while in our judicial system through foster care. And their voices have been silenced. But as long as I have a voice, that will never be. Danielle Reed was 5 years old. She passed away in 2002 while in foster care. Hawan Flowers was 4 years old. He passed away in the year of 2006. Jasmine Mace, who is the baby in the picture that Don Matthews holds, was 4 months old, and she passed away as well. Rafael Gomez was 2 years old. He lost his young life in 2003. Sean Sumner was 2 years old, and he lost his young life in 2001. Summer Lytle Phelps was only 4 years old when she took her last breath. Centera Phillips was 13 years old. Gareth Myatt was 15 years old. These teenage children ran away from the judicial system who had placed them in CPS. We have Baby Diamond from Ohio. We have Marcus Fiesel from Ohio. Marcus is a special person to me because I joined a search after a foster parent made a false claim in a park, and we learned that they had duct taped this child and left him in a closet for 3 days in 100-degree heat to go to a family reunion. The foster parents were David and Liz Carroll, and they had never been investigated. Foster father had a girlfriend, and when they realized that Marcus had died in their bedroom closet, they took this child, they placed him in a fire pit, they set him on fire, and when Marcus's body would no longer burn to be rid of him, they cut him up in little pieces and they threw him in the Ohio and Kentucky River. I voiced strongly for Marcus, and so Kentucky picked up charges against the girlfriend after our officials in Ohio plea bargained that if she testified, she would not be prosecuted for Marcus's death. I couldn't see injustices going on to these children and their voices being silenced. So every year I have chosen to bring children's faces here to Washington, D.C., who have passed away while in the care of CPS. 6.4 children per 100,000 will be affected this year by our judicial system, who places these children in homes through private adoption agencies that are foster parents as well, that have never had background checks. 1.5% per 100,000 of children who remain in their blood lineage will only suffer these crimes: sexual violation, physical abuse, maltreatment, mental abuse, and the end result, death. We need change, and we need it now. 500,000 million children this year will be affected by our judicial system due to the fact that no one is lifting these voices up strong enough. And I urge every one of you to find out in your state, in your county, in your community, how many children in child care service has been lost, murdered, or suffered these fates. You'll find it's astronomical. You'll also find the incentives to take a child from a normal home is high, $100,000. Judges receive $25,000. Public defenders who are public pretenders, they don't represent the families like they should, because they get an incentive off of that adoption as well. Social service workers have gone and became foster parents so that they can collect also. There's misappropriation of our tax dollars, and we have an economical crisis, you're right. We have it because our children's bloodlines are for sale. We have it because our government has oppressed and they have enslaved those who should remain parents. So I hope that by seeing these faces, you will go on to carry these lost children's voices. And I want to add, DC is not untouched. Recently, there was 4 children who were murdered. 2 were found buried, and 2 were found under a porch beyond recognition. An officer who did our search today on our vehicles informed me of that. So if I could, I would like to get the young man who sang the song to come up and say a prayer for our lost voices, and to carry the roar on, and to stand up and say to Congress, not my child, you don't. Not my life, you don't. Stop the injustice and make the change.
This is Joe Lewis from Justice Now. You see the rally is now over. As you can see, you have the state capitol here behind us. A beautiful rally today. Everybody expressing their feelings and their concerns with a domestic judicial system that, in my opinion, as well as theirs, is very destructive to the American family. I hope that the messages given to you by the individuals that I interviewed touch your heart in some way. I know that as an American citizen watching this show, that you have either had a direct contact, a family member, a friend, or a friend of a friend who has had a contact with that court system and did not get nothing but negativeness, prejudice, and bias, and whose lives have been destroyed up until this day. So remember the messages that you heard, because they are not discriminating who they do this to. And remember, you can be next. This is Joe Lewis coming from Justice Now, from our public access television station, the People's Network, broadcasting from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much. Good night, and may God bless you.